live stream right now.
Nice. All right. Hi, everyone. I hope that we're enjoying our summer so far. Thank you so much for showing up today. Per usual. But yeah, so let's just get started. Also so happy to have Mingjung back. Yay! We missed you. All right, so this meeting is being called to order at what time is it? 6:41 p.m. over Zoom by Internal Vice President Pinto, myself. So before we begin, we call for students to acknowledge that the lands the University of California locations are built upon were expropriated and founded upon exclusions and erasures of Indigenous peoples' human rights throughout California. UCSB is built on Chumash land, specifically that of the non-federally recognized Barbarinho tribe. As an association that pushes the student body's voices to the forefront, we should aim to make strides past just acknowledgement to those who continue to fight for their right to be recognized and respected as the original stewards of this land. I ask you all to dedicate time and care to personal education and to advocate for justice alongside Indigenous peoples. And today specifically, I wanted to call on our association to acknowledge and fight against our university's neglectful behavior towards meeting Cal-NAGPRA compliance, which is a statewide regulation essentially for the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. It is federal as well as statewide. So if you would like to learn more about that, please go ahead and educate yourselves. And also let's see how within this association we can continue to push that forwards and continue to push our university to be more accountable for meeting these regulations. All right, so let's start with some roll call. Dahlia Jerson. All right. Alexa Butler.
Here.
Oh, you got it, Mingjun. Carly Lankarani.
Here.
Taylor Iden.
Present.
Henry Lala.
Present.
Leah Kara. Okay, absent. Isabella McClintock.
Here.
Alexander Arambula.
Here.
I know that we had a proxy for Dominic today. Is that proxy here? Okay, since we did have some technological. Okay, yes, perfect. Okay, nice. So wanted to make sure. I know there was like confusion with that. Yeah, so Joshua Medeiros.
Here.
Paulo Brenderson.
Present.
Iman Waidullah.
Present.
Yasmin Suk.
Present.
Levi Korlu.
Present.
Leah Corsandi.
Present.
Mariana Rocio.
Present.
Ella Yu.
Present.
Lily Habas.
Present.
Jasmine Amin.
Present.
Dan Siddiqui.
Here.
Noura El Khatib.
Here.
Aryaman Singh.
Present.
And Alejandra Martinez.
Present.
All right. And now we are in excused absences. So the floor is open.
I motion to excuse the absence of Senator Sandy Ganesh.
A motion has been made to excuse Senator Sandy Ganesh for today. Is there a second? Seconded by whom?
Me.
If we could say our names, please.
Oh, sorry, Senator Lankarani.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Really, I mean, since we're still on the motion, let's just go through it. All right, the floor is open.
Call to question.
Call to question has been made. Are there any objections?
Consent.
Consent. Are there any objections to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes to accept Senator Ganesh for today. I see Senator Gerson has appeared. Parliamentarian Jha, should we just correct that since we're still in the middle of roll call and accepting absences slash presences?
Yeah, that will be in order and within your prerogative.
Okay, word. I'll accept it. All right, moving into the acceptance of proxies. Today we have Yao Yao Xiao for proxying for Senator Dominic Wang.
Motion to accept Yao Yao Zhao as a proxy for Senator Dominic Wang.
So a
Second.
motion has been made. A motion has been made to accept Yao Yao Xiao as a proxy for Senator Wang. Is there a second? I heard there was a second by Senator
Lankarani.
Lankarani. All right, thank you. Are there any, or the floor is open.
Call the question.
Call to question has been made. Are there any objections?
Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? I see that there's raised hands. Are there any objections to the consent? Okay, seeing none, motion passes. All right. Let's move into, sorry, y'all, I'm a little bit rusty. The summer has been a long one. But yeah, okay. I think, you know what, let's start off with any external reports if anyone is here to give that, whether that be chancellor's representative, UCPD, GSA, University Center Governance Board, IVCSD. Is there anyone here from any of those departments that would like to give the report? Okay, moving on. Yeah. Let's go into new business. So the first one being a resolution to explore alternatives to Montecito Bank and Trust. If the authors, Senator Siddiqui or Senator Lala would like to speak a little bit on it, and if we could all visit it and read through as well to see if there are any amendments or questions we would like to ask.
Yeah, since there is a lot of legislation under new business, I was wondering for your perspective, Asu, do you think it would be more beneficial just to move right into public forum and then do new business after?
Yeah, okay. Do we have to motion that, Mingjun?
As long as no one objects, you can just move in there. But if someone objects, then we have to go through the whole process.
All right. Does anyone object to moving into public forum? All right, seeing no objections, we're going to public forum. For the chat, there was a public forum sign-up sheet. So if you would like to sign up for that, Holly, if you would like to go ahead and call upon people.
Yeah, absolutely. So the only person that I see so far sign up on the list is Eric C, which I'm going to guess is you, Eric Carlson. So if anybody in the audience wants to sign up for public forum, the link is in the chat. Otherwise, I think Eric is our, oh, actually, Eric, once you finish, then Vincent, you'll be up next. So as soon as Eric is done, you can go ahead.
All right, perfect. So, hi, Eric. You have 2.5 minutes to speak with 2 minutes for Q&A. Please state your name, pronouns, and enunciate to refrain from yelling. Please note this meeting is being recorded. You may speak on any issue, whether it's on the agenda or not. Please include a content warning if it'll be graphic. You may only come up once and may choose to not answer any questions. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
All right. proceed.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see you guys having meetings over the summer. It's nice to see you guys. First thing, I'm not here as the AG. I'm here as just a student. I need your guys' help with a retroactive requisition that was done on part of the memorial in the month of May. So there was something where I thought staff members had submitted the requisition on my behalf. It was a miscommunication on my part. And because of that, it would be as simple as being like motion to grant, I don't know, Eric Carlson or whatever, you know, a retroactive honorary, or like not honorary, retroactive requisition request or whatever, something like that. I don't know exactly how the motion language would sound. Michael just said as long as it was on the minutes, it would be good. That's number one. And then number two is because I'm only allowed to speak once. Something I can actually do that in a report, I think, because I think Nayali wanted me to do this report. So for that, I yield. Thank you.
You were muted.
Thank you. Will you be accepting any questions? Thank you for speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask away.
Yeah, so if any senators would like to come forwards, get any clarification on the process, or speak a little bit on what was talked about, now is the time. Senator Iden, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, so what was the amount, and then you just want us to, we can do it next meeting, I'm assuming, if that works for you?
Yeah, you could do it whenever. I'm gonna pull up the exact requisition, and I could even just send it to you guys all on the thing.
That works.
Yeah, if you could send that to me, that would be I think
Okay.
most helpful, and then I can distribute it to all of our senators. Senator Singh?
Yeah, I had the same question, so.
Right, nice. Senator Amin?
Can I make a motion while we're asking questions or not yet?
Not yet, because we're still in public forum, and also I strongly suggest against just going ahead and accepting the retroactive reimbursement without seeing the exact amount that would be reimbursing. It's just nice to have the paperwork in front of us so we can review that. Anyone else? Senator Iden?
I meant to ask, was this already allocated, or does it need to be, like, it hasn't been allocated yet already? Like, we're not just have to approve the request?
No. Okay, and I'm on my iPad, so I'm like losing all my freaking tabs, guys. Okay,
It's all
I
good.
found them. So, this would be coming out of a previously allocated, at least from my understanding, from my talk with Michael, we still have quote unquote money left over in the Senate unallocated Beloved Community Working Group. We allocated a lot of money into that group last year. And so this is just something that he says, yep, we have enough money. We're still processing requests. We just need a motion to be attacked on to Senate minutes. I would attach the Senate minutes into the requisition, and then it would just get filed. This is kind of like a late thing. We've already kind of bought these. Kat Versola and other staff members, Miss Marissa, helped out with acquiring. These were the shirts and tote bags. I don't know if you guys saw anybody wearing these tote bags, but I was walking on Sunset and I see these guys like wearing our Ivy Strong shirts after they like take a dip, you know, and I was like, no way, you know, I was freaking out about it. I have the requisition that I made for it, and I have the invoices already attached in a PDF. I'll send it to Asu to IVP Pinto right away. And the total sum is $4,287.47. So let me put this into a PDF for you guys to have, and then I'll send it over.
All right, thank you. Nayeli, we can go into that when we get to unit reports, or yeah, when we go into unit reports. All right. Thank you so much for speaking, Eric, and raising that. I appreciate you coming out, and also your project and seeing how much community it brought people. All right, next on our public forum list is Vincent Tan. Hi, Vincent. So you have 2.5 minutes to speak with 2 minutes for Q&A. Please state your name, pronouns, and enunciate, but refrain from yelling. Please note this meeting is being recorded. You may speak on any issue, whether it's on the agenda or not. Please include a content warning if it'll be graphic, and you can only come up once. So you can also choose not to answer any questions. Do you agree?
Great. Thanks, IVP Pinto. I
Yeah,
just
go
wanted to come on here. My name is Vincent Tan, pronoun he, him. I just wanted to come to the Senate meeting because I think it's the first time during my new kind of appointment thingy that the Senate is meeting, but just to come by and say hey and to introduce myself to you all. I'm one of 2 special program advisors that the association has hired. These are part-time, 50% capacity roles. My role is to advise and provide guidance to the association's financial operations unit. So working closely with Michael, but also with other wonderful staff members, and of course you all, as you navigate what's going to be a very quick changing financial kind of landscape for the association. I'm just seeing 2 bills on tonight's agenda, one looking at the budget cycle process, the other one looking at a new kind of financial system. For those who don't know me, I'm proud UCSB alum. I graduated a couple years ago. I don't use my political science degree. It's okay. You know, it's just one of those things.
Sorry.
But this position is, I see Marissa laughing. This is a kind of my way of giving back to the association. I do get paid through this position, which is nice, but I do have a full-time job, and that's kind of where I'm teleconferencing from right now. I'm based in Los Angeles. I work at another university called Caltech in a completely different world of undergraduate research. And so if you guys have any questions related to finances, maybe translating or communicating certain BCUs, financial, questions or situations, right? If a student wants guidance on filling out a requisition form or going through the financial policies, guidelines, feel free to send me an email. And also send Michael an email, and Ashley, is great. But we're here to help you, and it's good to be back on the team officially again. Okay, so I'll put my email in the chat. But again, good to see everybody. And I'll take questions if anyone has any. You can ask me political science questions. Brush up on my knowledge. Yeah, Jasmine.
Thank you so much for taking that initiative and coming on to speak with us, Senator Amin.
I will just say before I answer the question, when I was a student at UC Santa Barbara, I was also in AS. I used to be the chair of the Community Financial Fund. In this role and returning as staff, I'm actually serving as the interim staff advisor for CFF. Yeah. And so if there's any CFF related questions, in addition to our board, you can ask me as well. But Jasmine.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming. I know it's like annoying and tedious to sit through a Senate meeting and come talk to us. So thank you. It's really sweet of you to come and introduce yourself. Sorry, my camera isn't on, by the way. I'm just so sick. I don't want to You don't
want to scare me? That's okay. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here, and as long as it's not a 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. meeting, I'm happy to go. I'm happy to be here.
Senator Singh.
Yeah, hi Vincent. I don't really have a question, just wanted to say thank you for coming by. And as the chair of the finance committee, I'm really excited to work with you this coming year.
Yeah, we've met before, and congrats on being the new chair. It's, as you're probably starting to learn, it's a very important role, and I think we'll be working closely during your time. So for you, if you have any questions, of course, please know that I'm always available. to answer. So yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Holly, do we have anyone else who signed up for public comment?
No, there is no one else on the list. So
Nice.
anyone here wants to add their name, feel free, but we are through our list. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody sign up, so I think we're good.
All right. All right. All right, so moving back into new business. We're starting off the first line item being a resolution to explore alternatives to Montecito Bank and Trust, co-authored by Senator Siddiqui and Lala. If any of you would like to speak on the bill, I also invite everyone to look at that and see exactly what that resolution entails and what that means, and if you would like to propose any amendments. But yeah, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I can go ahead and start us off. Yeah, also sorry if my voice is a little weird. I've been super under the weather lately as well. But like, yeah, as the chair said, since there are a lot of resolutions on the agenda and, you know, there's a lot of work put into each of these, I would really appreciate it if everyone could actually click and view the legislation that we're discussing, just to like show your appreciation and decent respect to your fellow senators for the work they put in. But yeah, this is a piece of legislation that I've kind of had in mind for a while after my numerous conversations with previous elected officials, as well as, you know, current staff members and other stakeholders in the association. But the reason why I think this is tremendously important is because the greatest tool of leverage and the most important thing that this association does is collect student fees. We collect over $18 million of student fees each year from over 23,000 undergraduate students, and it is our responsibility to make sure that all of our students are getting the greatest rate of return on the money they're putting into the association, and that is absolutely a huge part of my platform as a senator, and I hope it's part of your guys' platforms as well. But the reason why we're seeking to move away from Montecito Bank and Trust, there's a plethora of reasons, but I can go over some of them. One of them is just that the money that is in our accounts with this bank, oftentimes they're not even collecting market rate interest returns. And because it is a regional bank and not a nationally accredited bank, there are like lots of you know, like other services that more nationally accredited banks could provide the association with that we're just not able to get because Montecito Bank and Trust is a little bit smaller. And in the resolution, you know, we cited a bunch of examples from the Associated Students Constitution, as well as the bylaws, just kind of reemphasizing the fact that, you know, as the Senate, we are the legislative body. We have the power of the purse. And as I said, the most important thing that we do is manage student fees. So naturally, it makes sense that the bank in which we store these student fees, we want it to be the highest quality bank and the best bank that will maximize the rate of return for all UCSB students. But yeah, that's all I have to say pertaining to this legislation, and I yield the floor to Senator Lala if you would like to add anything.
Yeah, Chair, if I could be recognized.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, Dan put it really well. This is just a really basic step of upholding our fiduciary and representative duty to the student body that we represent, simply returning the best rates possible. And I think it's only one key step of many that we might have to take, both in returning the highest rates possible and just more financial transparency and well functioning in this organization. So I think it's a really important resolution.
All right, thank you so much, y'all. If y'all would like to ask any questions, we could also do that when the bill is reintroduced, so we have more time to formulate those questions. I think that we should go ahead with the latter. All right, moving into the next slide item, just because we have a lot going on, is a resolution to adopt the MIP Cloud Financial Systems software, and that is being introduced by Senator Siddiqui and Senator Singh. Y'all have the floor.
Yeah, actually, Asu, I was wondering, since the previous piece of legislation is a resolution, do you think it would be okay if we just go ahead and vote on it before moving on to the MIP legislation?
I mean, I think that's fine. I mean, I also had time to review the resolution.
Yeah, I mean, if no one else has
Parliamentarian
any,
Jaw, do you think that we should hold room for discussion then?
Yeah, typically before we go into a vote, it's advised to have a discussion on the legislation if we do intend to vote and pass it.
All right, so let's go ahead with that then. We are now in discussion. So if anyone has any questions or comments that they would like to make on the resolution, please raise your hand. Yes, Senator Crisant.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to, okay. I was just wondering, like, have you guys like looked into the alternatives, or I just am so lost. Like, who, like, have you started looking into alternatives, or are you just kind of passing, this is a resolution to pass it on to Michael and direct him to look into alternatives? Like, whose responsibility does that fall under?
yeah, I can answer that. So if you read the resolution in the therefore clauses, it's a directional resolution, meaning we're directing our executive director as well as Michael to look into that. And also there's clauses specified that as they engage in that, research process, that they should be consulting the Senate with their decisions. And, that can happen via the form of Marcella's reports or anything else. There's also a temporary committee created by me, specifically working on things like this, increasing our overall financial efficiency and transparency across the association. So we are directing this on behalf of staff to do, because especially people like Michael, who have been in the financial operations field for a long time, they have a much better equipped skill set to truly find the best bang for this association than any of us could. But obviously our voices as elected officials are important because it is our association. So we plan to be in regular communication with them as they engage in the research process. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Are there any further questions?
If there's nothing else, I want to motion to pass a resolution to explore alternatives to Montecito Bank and Trust by unanimous consent.
All right, there has been a motion to pass the resolution to explore alternatives to Montecito Bank and Trust by unanimous consent. Does anyone?
Seconded by Senator Lincoln.
Trust has been seconded. Seeing as it was motioned, Parliamentarian Jaw, seeing that it was motioned to pass by unanimous consent, it doesn't need to be seconded, right?
Since
Oh, it does.
yeah, because only the chair can ask for unanimous consent without a second. I believe Senate statement by unanimous consent was to skip the voting process and just have the thing passed, which means skip the hand vote. So we still have to follow the normal procedure on the motion, but after the motion passed, we can skip the voting on the legislation.
Okay. Seeing that I'm sorry, I'm like a little bit confused. So
if I may, Chair.
So the normal procedure is second, and then I would go ahead and pass the bill. Pass the resolution.
Yes, so the normal procedure is just have the motion seconded, and then someone calls question, and someone, and then you ask for consent.
Thank you. All right. So the motion to pass a resolution to explore alternatives to Montecito Bank and Trust by unanimous consent has been seconded by Senator Lankarani. We are now discussion.
Call to question. Iden.
Call to question has been made by Senator Iden. Are there any objections to the call to question?
Consent.
Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. So seeing none, a resolution to explore alternatives to Montecito Bank and Trust passes. Thank you, everyone. All right, next line item is a resolution to adopt the MIP Cloud Financial System Software, introduced by Senator Siddiqui and Senator Singh. If y'all would like to speak on the bill, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much. So just like the last piece of legislation, I would appreciate if everyone could click on the link and follow along as we're discussing it, just as a show of respect. But yeah, the temporary committee that I made, we've been working with our financial operations team as well as several other stakeholders in the association to figure out how we can best modernize and move our association forward so we can best serve students. And a lot of the issues that we see happen in the association are due to the fact that number one, we're still on a paper and pen requisition system. And number two, our online resources, ranging from our websites to having our trainings be integrated with the learning management system. Essentially TLDR, we are vastly behind almost every single other AS in terms of technological improvements, especially moving our finances, to the internet, digitizing our financial system, something that the vast majority of nonprofits have done in this day and age. And so some of the work that the committee has been doing is we've been meeting with different stakeholders who've been proposing different projects to digitize aspects of the association. So this is one of them. Michael has been working with the UCSB administration to see if we could adopt the MIP Micro IX Cloud Financial System software. And what this would do is that it would essentially change AS as we know it. It would completely digitize all of our finances. So, requisitions would be able to be signed online. BCUs would be able to view and manage their budget online. We as senators would be able to go into any entity's account, view their budget, view their transactions. It would really just help to fix a lot of the critical issues that the association has been facing and just get us back up to date with other ASs across the UC system. And I can briefly touch on some of the other digitization projects that we're kind of working on. So Marissa and Sean have been working to actually update our BCUs and upload them to Shoreline and have accessible roster lists of members. I know the previous IVP, Soham Kalia, he worked on two major projects during his term that he was never able to implement. Number one was the Accounting Rework Act, which is actually kind of similar to what MIP is doing, except there were some other things in there, like it would allow units to just earn money on their accounts when storing them. There's also the data management system that he created that is kind of similar to what Marissa and Sean were doing. But essentially our plan is that along with MIP, which is what Michael was proposing, this committee is going to hold a meeting with Marissa and Michael and Sean and any other stakeholders to kind of figure out how we can match up the workflows in all of these different projects to make sure that we are cohesively digitizing the association. One project isn't interfering with another, but the kind of overall larger goal of this is that by the start of the 76th Senate in fall quarter 2025, everything in Associated Students will be digital when it comes to trainings, when it comes to our finances and our budget, as well as when it comes to viewing the rosters and lists of BCUs and making purchases. But yeah, I think this is a monumental piece of legislation. It's a no-brainer. Should have been done a while ago, in my opinion. So I'm proud to author it. And I yield my time to Senator Singh.
I have nothing to add. You covered all the bases. Thanks.
All right, thanks, y'all. The floor is open to make a motion. Senator Iden?
Just to kind of discuss with the authors a little bit, just because I'm kind of doubting
Yeah.
anyone's really how many people have seen the proposal itself. Has anyone like looked through it besides the people on that committee? So
Proposal
just
specifically, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
so like I think I'm assuming it's a limited amount. I'd like to kind of going forward, like have everyone have the information readily available to them, like because it is a very expensive upfront cost. It's $98,000 for the first year. And just going into like those big purchases. I'd like to have like Michael come to the Senate and discuss with us before we vote on this, because I think it's important that we're all well informed before we go into these votes. I yield my time.
Thank you, Senator Iden. Senator Siddiqui?
Senator Iden, I completely understand where you're coming from, but in my conversations with Michael, he made it apparent that this is a time-sensitive piece of legislation that needs to be passed. I'm not sure if we will have another Zoom meeting before we meet in the first week of October. And I do understand your point about the upfront cost, but to my understanding, this cost is not going to come from Senate unallocated. It's not going to come from F&B. Michael never specified which account it would come out of, but I think it would be, I forget the name of the account, but it wouldn't directly be a Senate account. And I do think the $98,000 price tag is significant. I don't deny that, but at the same time, I also think we have to look at ROI. I'm not a fan of spending recklessly, but if we're going to spend $98,000 on something that's going to change the way AS is forever, just thinking about how many issues would be solved if our finances were completely digital. We could track every single transaction, every single ledger. There would be records of everything. And so I just want to say, I do understand where you're coming from in terms of having Michael come and report to the Senate on this. But I do think that me and Aryamon and other members of the committee have had enough time to talk with Michael and better understand this project and bring it to the Senate floor. So I would like to see this go to a vote today.
Thank you, Senator Siddiqui. I wanted to just clarify, is that $98,000, is that a yearly cost, or is it just to obtain the software to use for the lifetime of this association, or until we eventually switch out of it?
I believe it is a recurring cost per year.
Recurring costs. All right.
Can I jump in? Sorry.
Yeah, Senator Iden.
It's a $98,000 upfront cost for the first year, and then every year after that, I believe it's $35,000. I kind of have just some issues with. I never met with Michael. I was sent the MIP cloud solution. I don't think it's, it was sent to Michael on the 26th of July. The fact that no one on Senate has looked at it and we're being asked to pass $100,000 is very unethical to me, and kind of floating it as like a big, great thing. Like, I'm sure I looked through it. There's a lot of really cool stuff in it, but this just feels very strange that Michael isn't presenting to us. No one really knows how accounting software works. There's no one coming and speaking to us, and we're, kind of trying to be forced into, we have a time sensitive thing to pass $98,000. These procedures that's not okay.
I think that, thank you, Taylor, for those concerns. Since we have Marissa here, and if she could provide any insight, because you are also very familiarized with the process and with this piece of legislation, if you'd like to provide any insight, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but does Alejandra want to go first? Do you have a question?
Oh, not a question. I wanted to speak on my experience. I met with Michael a little bit, and we did talk a little bit on this as well, but you can go first, Marissa, and then I'll just give my opinion after.
I just want your hand was raised first. I wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm not an accounting expert or anything, but I do want to share that MIP is an accounting software that is also used by the ASUC at Berkeley. And so I did put Michael in touch with the business and finance staff at Berkeley and I sat in on that conversation, and we did have a conversation about the pros and cons of it, because I believe you were only looking at 2 different accounting software. So it's not like this is a expansive search. It was narrowed down to the 2, MIP and another. And so I just want to provide that I know that the accounting software works well. We used it at Berkeley when I was there. Although we didn't use the cloud version. So I think the version you're looking at is actually better. But I do just want to say, I also agree, it's a big upfront cost, and y'all should be able to look at the contract and have some feedback for that. I can text Michael to see if he can pop on. But I just want to give you that context that I know it works at other institutions, particularly for ASs.
Thank you, Marissa. Alejandra, if you would like to speak. Senator Martinez, sorry.
It's okay. Thank you. I hope everyone can hear me well. Although I'm not part of the finance committee, and I certainly haven't been as exposed to all of the not repetitive, all of the conversations they've had, all of the debate they've had, and the research they've done into this. I have had the pleasure of meeting Michael, I believe, once before, and I think we did speak about the system. It was relating to just some financial questions that I have or had toward the association as a senator, and as because I wanted to educate myself a little bit more. And I very strongly feel like this would be a really good investment to make, simply because a lot of the reasons that F&B or how we've been struggling recently in AS financially has been occurring is because of how outdated we are. You need twice as many people to be able to work on paper and everything than when compared to digital. So that's hiring more people. That takes more time to hire people because you need at least to go through that whole process and everything. So I feel like while yes, it's very important to take into consideration the cost, I think it would be also a good idea to speak with Michael. I do think that this is a very responsible and a good, not just a good, but a good investment to make for AS as a whole. You could also everyone's worries or anything is totally valid and etc. But I think that this would be very, very helpful in the long run. And I also believe that the committee has done sufficient or has been able to and continue to make as much research and questions, and just like Marissa said, view the pros and the cons and see how it works in other campuses and etc. to be able to have put forward this this today. So I mean, yeah, that was just my little bit, or this etc. So if you don't from what I spoke with Michael and everything, I think it's a really good investment to make. But thank you for hearing me out.
All right, thank you, Senator Martinez. Senator Khorsandi.
Yeah, I want to kind of echo what Taylor said. I think that while I do agree that we need to be digitized and the importance of that for accessibility reasons, for just efficiency reasons, I do think it's very, very important that we digitize. I don't want, because of the weight of the finances of this, it's a lot of money. I think we need to place importance rather than passing it faster and wanting to pass it today. I think we need to take a little bit more due diligence, have Michael come speak to us. I don't even know where exactly this money is going to. Is the whole 90K, 100K going to purchase this software? Where is the money being allocated to? Where is the money, is it coming out of Senate unallocated? Where is the money coming out of? I think there's just so many unanswered questions that, I don't know, maybe you can provide a little bit more information on, but I do think that it'll be more appropriate if we got more information before we rush to pass it.
That's completely valid, Senator Khorsandi. If I could also say my piece, I would like us to consider how deeply understaffed our AS professional staff is. consider this position or this investment in the software as having to not need that much staff. Also, we do currently have a member of F&B, despite it being a temporary position. We have Vincent here, who Marissa has just shared, would like to provide some insight, or if you would like to, Vincent, provide more insight on this software and the logistics behind it. I think that would clarify a lot of questions. But if maybe our senators could go first and then you could provide that insight afterwards, maybe that would also help as to like what information exactly is needed. So Senator Amin, if you want to go ahead.
I just wanted to, I completely agree with everything Senator Horstandy and Senator Iden just said. This might be a great idea, and I do agree that digitizing all our information and having that up front is so necessary. I will say though that pushing this to do it so quickly I don't think is in our best interest, and I don't think it's in the best interest of the student body. I think if we take more time and we were actually able to bring, it sounds like Michael is the one who's like a big part of this. So if we were to bring him into a Senate meeting next week and then vote on it, I think that would be a lot better. I don't think rushing 100K is a good idea.
All right, thank you. Senator Lankarani.
Yeah, thank you. So I definitely agree with the sentiments from other senators saying like this is very rushed. However, I also, I want to echo what Asu said about like our professional staff is very understaffed. And also, I just want to give a little bit of perspective from my past work with AS and requisitions. So I was in Kaj this past year, and I was mostly in charge of a lot of the requisitions because we didn't really have anyone looking to be treasurer. So that was all going through me and another member, and we struggled a lot. We struggled the most of everything. Oh, hello. My cat might yell at me. I'm so sorry. Anyways, that's where we struggled the most because we ran this series where on a pretty like frequent basis, anywhere from every 2 weeks to every week, we would be paying musicians to come to our event. And like our requisitions were not getting processed in a very quick manner. And considering like these are people's livelihoods, like these are people's jobs, these are like these people outside of AS that we are funding, they need this money to pay their bills, to get gas, to get groceries. So having a more expedited process for requisitions sooner than later is ideal. Maybe we could do like, if we can't get Michael here like as soon as possible to do like a presentation, maybe we could do like he could email us a presentation and we do an email vote or something. I would just like this resolved as soon as possible, like just because I think this would be extremely beneficial not only to us as Senate, but AS as a whole. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Senator Lankarani. So I would also like to remind everyone that we do have a member of our AS financial team here who would be able to provide more clarity. This doesn't all fall on Michael, and I think that us all echoing that insinuating that this all falls on Michael already addresses some of that issue, right? Again, like we are very understaffed, and the fact that we don't have digitized systems is making it nearly impossible for people to get paid. Yes, shout out to Michael. But our onboarding process is also 9 to 10 months long for a staff member. And this process would, make our association overall much more efficient. Marissa has shared a link, and I would like to invite Vincent to speak to provide more insight because it seems like the same questions are being repeated. So Vincent, if you would like the floor to provide a little bit more insight on the software and some of the questions that the senators have had.
First thing, can everyone hear me okay? This is the first time I've taken a Zoom call on the phone. I feel like I've been summoned before Congress to answer questions, but that's fine. I appreciate IVP Pinto, you mentioning that, of course, I'm present and willing to answer to the best of my ability the questions related to the MIP software. But before I get maybe to some of the questions raised, I do want to acknowledge, you know, the really great points that are being raised on kind of the two parts of this, or the two sides of the debate on, you know, expediting a vote on this and maybe why that's important. Maybe not that it happens tonight, but that it happens as soon as possible, and kind of, you know, the student perspective of it. Just to kind of, you know, mention on the part where I was a part of AS and currently serve as a staff advisor for a BCU, it's not even, I wouldn't even call it pain, but I get the embarrassment that comes sometimes with, you know, dealing with third-party vendors, and because of the process we currently have, third-party vendors getting paid late, right? I mean, I think we've all been in that, gone through the experience where someone's written to us via email, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, asking where the check is, right? It's always been a paper check. And also on that point, us as student leaders explaining to members in our group, because we don't have a association-wide credit card that we can give to students to use, why it's been a while for the students we work with to get reimbursed large sums of money from the association. And to the senators who raised the point that a lot of this is traced back to how the financial structure is currently operating, you're right? It's mostly a pen and paper kind of system. Senators who have mentioned the point about the high price tag, I think, are right to be not concerned, but to raise that point, right? I mean, this, for most of the senators here, this is going to be the first time, or one of the first times, in which you deal with these kind of big contracts. I can tell you that a lot of operating software that we use, I know at Caltech, comes with price tags similar to this, right? Something like a research management software comes with it, a 30-something thousand annual maintenance charge. I don't even know what the software we use in terms of over there at Caltech, what the upfront installation charge is, but I assume it's somewhere around that price tag of 90 to 100,000. But the senators who raised the concerns about the price tag are right in that I think with a clear conscience, if you should vote on this with a clear conscience, and it sounds like the clear conscience will come to you once you're able to review the materials associated with this software, and ideally maybe get some kind of presentation or case study files sent to you that you can review, right? Marissa, my wonderful colleague, mentioned that this software was used over at Berkeley. I can tell you in the files that I've reviewed, I believe it's been used over at the University of Georgia. Other big universities are using the MIP software, but I think you should all take the time, and our team will work on getting you those materials again to review what it looks like on other college campuses. Just trying to, I wrote down notes on kind of the points raised. Yes, Michael is pretty much the one leading the charge on this new software implementation, and kudos to him on taking the lead here. But I think it's an all staff hands-on approach in terms of if there's any questions we can help answer, we'll try our best. But I'll go ahead and answer the questions with the caveat of I don't know everything. I'm learning this new system as well, since it's been kind of introduced to me. And my advice to the association is that whatever you decide to do, I hope that a decision will come quickly, because I've seen various senates and student orgs go through the process of going in with the expectation of a lot of change happening throughout the association, but then the academic year hits and everyone gets inundated with just a lot of work. And so I think we find ourselves in a good time to have this discussion and to really look into what could be a big monumental change for the association. So with that opening statement, I guess I'll answer some questions. I don't know the order in which the hands were raised, so IVP Pinto, if you want to help me with that, maybe moderating the Q&A.
So the senators that currently have their hands up were senators that wanted to speak beforehand.
Yeah.
To also just like put in their piece. But if you would like to start answering some of those questions, I see that
Sure.
Marissa has said that Michael is also available to speak, and just and yeah, if you would like to, you know, cede your time and let Michael speak, that works too. But if you have that knowledge also, that
Yeah.
it's kind of up to you.
If Michael can, you know, teleconference in, I think that'd be greatly appreciated, but I'm here to provide the support where I can. So
All right, thank you so
maybe let's
much.
take, yeah, maybe we can take the questions, and, you know, if Michael's on the line, we'll just kind of field them as Alejandro. Oh, there you are.
Oh,
Is
hold,
that Michael?
wait 1 second, y'all. Doesn't have his laptop. FYI, I met his daughter today. She's starting college or
Yeah.
going off to college this week. So I don't think he's available to get on right now. I want to respect his family time and his last few days with his daughter before she goes to,
Yeah.
where is she going? Northwestern?
Northeastern?
Eastern.
Something like that.
Eastern, sorry. But I'll translate the questions.
I'm happy to take a couple of quick
Okay.
questions.
You can take a couple of your
I
questions.
can't hear very well. I'm on my mobile.
Yeah, I'll translate for you if you can't hear the questions. All right, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Senator McClintock?
I didn't have a question. I just wanted to bring up, from my point of view as a chair of a board, having something digitized would be so helpful in getting events to happen. I know I had several events that had to be canceled because we didn't have an ability to pay our vendors, which meant, you know, events I wanted to host for transfers got canceled because we didn't have a way to pay them. And then I know multiple people had to pay out of pocket on their credit cards, and then had to wait to be reimbursed. So just something to think about is, like, not only in Senate, but with the boards that we're also serving, this is something that can be really helpful to them. I know we talked a lot about during the budget cycle about boards not spending their money. And I think this is a really big barrier, is that we weren't getting the money to spend. So this might help with that problem as well. And I know I've talked to Marissa last quarter about digitizing and her experience with Berkeley as well. So I do think this is coming from a great standpoint. I think it would be great if, like Senator Lankarani said, to think about it today and maybe do an email vote before school starts. I do think this is something we really need to look into, but also I saw in the comments that our current software costs us $50K a year. So if we're supplementing to starting with $98K and then to start and then going into 35, if that's ultimately going to save us money, that is something that we like really should be doing. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Marissa before about this plan, but I do think we should talk about it. I think this is great that we are talking about it today, but maybe we can vote on it before our first October meeting so we can get the ball rolling for the boards before the school year starts.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, Senator McClintock. That point being raised, like the current money that we do spend on these accounting systems, is an excellent point. Yes, Senator Martinez.
IVP Pinto, if I could just add something real quick to Senator McClintock's point. You know, one of the big features of this new financial software implementation will be finally direct deposit from the association. I just think about all the times in which checks have been made and checks have been lost, checks have been sent to new tenants and new tenants don't answer doors. And next thing you know, the student who was kind enough to put down their credit card for an event that they really didn't even agree with, all of a sudden they're scrambling to find money for their own rent. You know, as a student myself, I really valued the students who were able to put down their credit cards to supplement, the association's mission. But as Marissa just put in the chat right now, it 100% is an equity issue, because it's those students with those credit cards, right, who are sometimes driving the point of what kind of programming happens. Whereas the students who themselves don't have the fund to front the money, their great ideas sometimes get tossed to the side of no fault of their own. And so just 2 words from that: direct deposit. That's a big plus from the software item. But great point, Senator McClintock.
Thank you. I think one question that has been repeated multiple times tonight is the question of where does the funding for this software come from?
Yeah, that we're
If Michael could answer that, or if you could answer that.
Yes, I will defer to whatever Michael says on that. So if he's still on the phone.
Marissa?
Yeah, hold on one second.
I hope it's not coming out of CFF. No, I know it's not coming out of CFF.
Of me being here.
All right, he's here. He'll answer your questions. He is with his daughter, so make it quick because I want to respect his family time.
Most definitely. Was he able to hear the question?
My comment. And I am with my daughter, and she's leaving for Boston, so I'm sure you appreciate the time that I
They can hear you, right? You all can hear him?
Okay. The idea of where the money comes from, but I'll first address the need for a considered opinion and some sort of resolution to the matter, because it's been three to 4 months of evaluation. There's a 30+ page document that I circulated and a roadmap for implementation. If we don't start the implementation during the September period, we're looking at delaying the implementation. And we have a spring target to test the software and a summer fallback for a fall 25 start. If we don't meet our deadlines, we won't have this for the next cycle. So that's an ultimate test of our ability to implement. We certainly have to design the workflows. That's going to take a lot of committee effort, participation with the student group, and leadership to enable all the aspects of it to be developed. And then it's going to need to be integrated with our existing data. So all this is very important to get started on. I guess the idea of why we need it has been raised. Obviously, there's been some resolutions passed on transparency. There's no way to have transparency unless you have a digital real-time system. There's no way to know your budgets unless you are able to log in to your specific accounts, see what your submissions have been, what your remaining budgets are, what's leaned, and therefore what's available to spend. As Vincent points out, the direct payment model is essential to any modern system. ACHs, batch uploads, direct bank connectivity, reconciliation. There's a whole host of reasons why we're doing this. We have failed to implement an infrastructure upgrade for decades. The campus has leapfrogged us multiple times with their systems, and we're still based on a paper workflow, which delays everything. All the criticisms that have been levied are real, and I could say they're justified. There is a lot of waste in our current system. We haven't paid our vendors on time as a result because of the lengthy time it takes to get requisitions with approval documentation reviewed and backed up for approvals so that we can initiate the cycle of checks. Checks take a long time, they get lost. So all of those things are very important. The buildup of capital is where the funds will come from. We have a reserve account, and it's got over $2 million in it. We have $9 to $10 million in general in terms of all the lock-ins, in addition to the reserves. So I guess the decision is, do we want to upgrade so that we can free ourselves up from the day-to-day inability and inefficiencies and focus on our core mission of delivering results.
There's a chat question that says, so would the 50K that we pay annually for the current system be replaced by the 35K, or would the 35K be an additional annual cost?
Yeah, we've done a good deal. I've done a good deal of analysis on the cost basis. The current market license costs for similar systems, Blackbaud being one, which is the leading fund management system alongside this Sage-based MIP system, is going to cost more. Blackbaud costs more. So this is, in retrospect, quite a good deal. The 60K that's going to cost to implement it has built-in hours and hours of software engineers, and it is competitive. The idea of saving money over time is real. We have Harris that we're paying for, and it will be phased out over the course of this fiscal year. So we won't have that, and we certainly are going to optimize our funds if we adopt a new system. Not just it will save time and money in operations, but it will cost us less in licensing.
So under this, we will be more efficient and save money over time, correct?
Absolutely. That's the purpose.
All right, thank you so much, Michael. Hopefully that helped people understand things a little bit more concretely. Again, if you look through your emails.
I want to just add, again, I think we should let Michael go. I know how much this moment with his daughter means to him and his family. And so I'm happy to take notes on any further questions that maybe I can't provide real-time answers to. And Michael and I talk every day, and so I'll relay those over to him. And and yes, these are great questions, but we'll circle back to you guys as soon as possible, because again, we want to be urgent with this, but also alleviate any concerns that you all may have. So thank you, Michael. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, Vincent, thanks very much. The last point I'd make is that if there was some possibility of circulating the documentation I've supplied, there is a time frame, some sort of vote needs to be considered reasonably quickly.
Dan,
And,
Dan
you'll
resent
be
it to
able see
everybody.
the nature of what we're speaking to in your own time, and that will help. And more than happy to get on another call to clarify any points you have.
Thank you, Michael.
Great.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank you so
Michael.
much, both of you. All right, Parliamentarian Ja.
Thank you, Chair, for giving me the floor. So just in the interest of time, since we do have a lot of legislation tonight, may I propose that we skip the MIP resolution for the moment to give people some time to digest what the information they just learned and to read through the lengthy and very valuable documents that we just discovered. And we can circle back to the resolution for a vote before the meeting ends. Will that be amendable with the chair?
I think in the interest of not being here till midnight, I think that is wise. So we will be revisiting this resolution, and we will now be moving into a bill to restore and repair ASUCSB online presence, co-written by Senator Siddiqui and Iden.
Chair, if it would be okay with you, I want to make one last comment.
Point of
pertaining-
order. I've had my hand up, and I don't feel it's fair to move on without the last final thoughts being on this.
That's not a point of order.
All right, well, if you're just gonna ignore someone the entire time,
All right, y'all, hold up.
I think it's fair to bring it up.
Okay. All right, order. All right. All right, just as long as it is relevant and adds more points rather than repeating the same points over and over again, I will accept it. Senator Iden.
Yeah, thank you. So my issue with this whole ordeal is not anything to do with the software or the implementation. It's that for the future of our meetings, if you're going to be bringing something that has $100,000 price tag, I'm all for online honoraria. I think there's a lot of cool stuff where you could do your orders through there. No one's looked through it, and you're now being told, like, I didn't know there was a time frame on this, and people are learning there's a time frame, and no one's looked at it, and you're asking to pass $100,000. You can't. That just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. No one's looked at it, and if you're going to be working for the rest of the year, we're going to be passing money. You want every senator informed on what they're going to pass. It's a huge amount of money. The software looks great. I think the things on it are awesome, but for future, someone needs to have this information brought out sooner, because when the majority of the Senate hasn't seen it and we're voting on $100,000, that's not how businesses in the real world operate. They look at this a week ahead of time, 2 weeks ahead of time, and then they make the decision. You don't get told there's a deadline and then have to force everyone into voting into a decision when they don't really know about it. But that's it, and that's the rest of my piece.
I think this is bringing up the concern. Well, if I can go ahead and give my 2 cents. This was sent out a couple of weeks ago. I have reviewed this personally when it was sent out to me. I think as senators, that is a responsibility that we're taking on, especially when it's interdepartment within AS. It's very important to stay on top of that. And if this is being brought to the floor and you were unaware of this, yes, also thank you. Senator Maderos also brought up the fact that we are not in regular meetings, so that does give us more opportunity to go ahead and review that material and be more equipped, because we are trying to set ourselves up for the upcoming year. And that is extremely important, especially when we're looking at new chairs for BCUs, trying to look into more people participating in our organization overall, because that is our goal, is to serve our fellow students and our fellow student body. So I hear your concerns on the price tag of the software. Overall, it does seem more cost efficient. And we will be replacing, sorry, I live in a loud place. We will be replacing an inefficient system that will overall be allowing our AS staff, specifically our financial team, to have more room to have these conversations with us and repair anything happening within our association that is also not financially transparent. Senator Siddiqui?
I have 2 quick points I want to bring up. So number 1, thank you for bringing up the fact that this was emailed out weeks ago. I would like to remind all of you that in the real world, as senators, as elected officials, it is your responsibility alone to check your emails and be aware of all legislation that will be brought to the Senate floor. This piece of legislation has been on the agenda for 10 days. The agenda was sent out a while ago. It is every sole person's individual responsibility to keep up with the content of legislation and keep track of emails that are sent to them by staff. So with all due respect, this is an individual responsibility. And the second point pertaining to, as Senator said, it was summer. I do understand it's summer. People are traveling, people are moving around, but I will remind everyone that your terms are year round. You get summer honoraria, you get paid for summer. So if you are getting paid for summer, you should be doing your job as you would do it in any other quarter. I yield my time.
All right, thank you, Senator Siddiqui. Senator Iden, this is the last comment before we will be moving on. So you have the floor.
Oh, I accidentally left my hand up. But
all right, thank you.
I also didn't have anything in my email. Just the only initial one that was sent to me, Aryaman, Henry, Mingjin, David, and Yasmin for that. But I have nothing else.
All right, thank you. Since I am currently chairing this meeting, if our pro temps or if any of our staff members have that readily available and could send that out again, to our current senators. Maybe there was some type of mix-up within the email list. I know that that was being revamped recently, but we will revisit this towards the end. Moving on into our next piece of legislation, a bill to restore and repair ASUCSB online presence, co-authored by Senator Siddiqui and Senator Iden. Both of you have the floor to speak on this bill.
Yeah, so this legislation is aimed at correcting a plethora of issues within the association. Obviously, this is a bill, so it's going to be tabled, and I think there's a lot of future and further amendments that need to be made to this piece of legislation. I'm also looking at the agenda again, and there's 8 total viewers on this document, while there's about 23 to 24 of us senators in this call. So I'd like to see people looking at the legislation that your fellow senators are working hard on putting their time into. But the main objective of this legislation is to fix our broken online presence. As all of you may know, our websites have been ineffective and not updated for several years. They are completely outdated. Our marketing is vastly behind where it could be in terms of quality and outreach, in my opinion. We could be having way more social media accounts. We could be creating way more posts. And the reason why that would be beneficial for the association is because as the Associated Students of UCSB, we are the premier institution created to represent undergraduate students. Unfortunately, a lot of undergraduate students are either, number one, unaware of AS and what it is, or number two, aren't able to truly comprehend the impacts of the policies that we pass and the great work that a lot of our BCUs do. One of these examples is the food bank. The AS Food Bank, since its introduction, has cut down food insecurity for students on this campus by over 50%. A lot of people don't know about that and other things like that because our association does not do a good job in marketing itself. No one knows what we do or why we do it. That's why we have consistently low voter turnout besides this most recent election, as well as just an overall unawareness of AS on campus, which I think is really unfortunate because I think, you know, we are a great institution and there are a lot of hardworking senators, hardworking executives, hardworking BCU chairs who put on great programming for the student body. And so what this bill does is that it takes away the 2 public relations and media coordinator positions in the IVP office and further delegates it to a Senate media coordinator and an IVP media coordinator. And each of those positions, they manage social media marketing and websites for whatever their description of their job pertains to. So the Senate media coordinator would manage the Senate Instagram, as well as updating all Senate websites. And the IVP media coordinator would do the same for the IVP office. This also builds off another piece of legislation that Senator Horsandi and Senator Butler passed a few meetings ago, creating the web development position in the IVP office. And so this also adds on to some of their duties. Another thing that was done just for the sake of clarity is the chief compliance officer position is kind of weird. So it was created and the description of the position in legal code was put under F&B, but within its legal code under F&B, it says that the IVP is the person who appoints them and that they're in the IVP office, but there is no like CCO description within the IVP office's legal code because I think no one just added this. So what this does is just gets rid of that redundancy. There was another position called internal compliance officer that was there. I just removed that and renamed it to CCO just so it's consistent because there was a bill passed last year that actually allowed the chief compliance officer within the IVP office to create their own office. David Jr. Sim is our CCO this year. You guys will be seeing him a lot. He is fantastic, genuinely one of the brightest minds I've ever worked with in this association. And he's going to be coming to Senate regularly and helping us out. So I'm really looking forward to working with him. But yeah, there are a few other things in this bill because we are changing a lot of legal code. For example, I think there's a part somewhere in here pertaining to Go Gaucho. I kind of removed that because I think Alvin in the SAG's office is now working on that, but I do need to contact him about some of those things. So there are a few tweaks here that need to be ironed out, and I think there are several more edits that need to be made. That's why I anticipate us tabling this bill as we have to, since it's a bylaws change, and working on filling in the remaining gaps for the 6 weeks we have up until fall. But that's all I have to say pertaining to this legislation. I yield my time.
All right, thank you. Senator Iden, do you have anything to
Yeah,
add?
thank you, Dan. I think this is kind of also just going into the start of the school year. It's something that we need to think about, not even just, showing up to the meetings and being interactive, but also like it's first week of school is coming up. We have about a month-ish, and just the in-person kind of making yourself known and putting it out there is also really important. Just representing AS and letting the freshmen know who are coming in what we are and what we do, because it starts from day one and then it goes to their 4th year. So just everyone do your best. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Senator Corsendi?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, thank you for writing this bill. I think it's really, really important that we maintain our online presence, because it's really bad. What it is right now is like it's not sustainable for how we are trying to, show ourselves off to the student body. I think it's really important. And I think like Senator Butler and I, when we wrote the previous bill that this one is like working off of, we kind of had this idea in mind of like people being able to transparently see the bills and the resolutions that we're passing. I think that's like the most important part. I'm just wondering, like, I'm reading through the bill right now. I think it's like really great that we have a social media coordinator, like, who also works on the website. I'm just a little confused where, like, will the Senate media coordinator, will they also be responsible for I know you mentioned they're also going to be responsible for the website. How is that set apart from the web development director? Do you just want to kind of absorb the web development director into the Senate media director if they're also going to be working on the website? Because the web development director's main job was the website. So I don't know if it's going to be more beneficial to like absorb it into the Senate media director. Would they both work on the social media and the website, or are we going to keep those separate?
Thank you, Senator Corsendi. Senator Siddiqui or Senator Iden, would you like to answer that question?
I'm so sorry. I took a quick point of personal privilege. Could you repeat the question?
The question was, Senator Corsendi, actually, would you like to restate your question?
Yeah, sorry. It was like such a long, confusing question. Okay. I was just wondering if it would be more beneficial and like efficient to absorb the web development director that me and Senator Butler worked on implementing into the Senate media director, who would both be in charge of the website and the social media, or are we keeping those separate? Because I think you mentioned earlier that the Senate media director or coordinator, whatever the name is going to be responsible for both the website and the social media accounts.
Yeah, no. Oh, sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I'd say in my opinion, I think it's better to keep the positions separate. And the reason why I say that is because the reason why our marketing efforts have been so bad historically is that the specific responsibilities of advertising on AS social media accounts, whether it's, specifically the Senate social media account, it's never been delegated to a specific person. The legal code said that it was the responsibility of both pro temps, but also both, media coordinators in the IVP office. And the reason why it hasn't been updated in so long is because all of those positions are so busy doing something else to where it's just like that's the last thing they have on their mind, and it's not something they want to focus on. So I prefer to keep the positions separate, just because, especially with the web development director, I would like them to upload the minutes and the agendas of Senate each week to the website, just so that it's more accessible to the student body as a whole. And I think also just by like separating the responsibilities and lessening the workload of each position, we can kind of correct the mistakes that were made in the past, where we just put too many responsibilities into a couple positions, and they weren't able to fulfill their jobs to the best of their abilities. Also, another thing that came to mind, I guess, is a question for you, Senator Horsatti and Senator Butler. But when you created, or when you wrote the bill creating the web development director position, was there a financial impact for that? Because I think you would have to allocate that like within the honoraria budget of the IVP.
Yeah, I can answer that unless Alexa, you want to take that. I believe we had written it in the bill. I believe it was a yearly financial impact of $900. Alexa, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pulling up the bill right now. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I think you are correct, but I definitely would check my answer.
Okay, well, it's not like an immediate thing. It would just be something we'd have to go back and correct in a future meeting. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. I don't have any further comments.
Yes, it did. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I just confirmed. We wrote it in the bill. We said like this has an annual financial impact of $900. To be quite honest, I'm not sure what happens after that, but we did.
Yeah, so we would need to figure out where the money's coming from. Which is okay. It's totally you know, we're all getting started with this thing. But yeah, usually just as like a practice in future, like when you do alter positions within an office, you know, obviously everyone's entitled to get paid honoraria. So if you're going to create new positions, they have to be allocated honoraria. However, each account only has a certain number of funds allocated to honoraria, and that's determined in the previous year when F&B goes through the budget cycle and the budget process. So when writing bills, like creating positions that have a financial impact, we do need to figure out, like if we're creating new positions, okay, where is this money going to come from? And, you know, you can take $900 out of maybe the special project fund for the IVP, I'm not sure, or maybe you take $900 from Senate unallocated for this year, but then you'd need to find a permanent funding solution. We can talk about this as a later date. But I just wanted to provide that context for all of you guys going forward.
All right, thank you, Senator Siddiqui. I would like to make a suggestion that we keep the position of internal compliance officer, or maybe head of compliance officer, because the term chief is derogatory and disrespectful. So that is a recommendation. All right. So I suggest someone makes a motion to table the bill into our next Senate meeting.
It should get automatically tabled since it's new legislation.
Parliamentarian Jha?
Because it is possible for bill in the new legislation being rejected by tabling forever or just rejected flatly. So it will be better if the Senate can pass a motion to table it to the next meeting.
Thank you. So the floor is open to make a motion.
Chair, can I be recognized?
Yes, Senator Butler.
Motion to table a bill to restore and repair ASUCSB online presence to the next Senate meeting.
All right, a motion to table a bill to restore and repair ASUCSB online presence to the next Senate meeting has been made. Is there a second? Senator Amin?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Amin. We are now in discussion.
Call to question.
Call to question has been made. Are there any objections to the call to question?
Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? All right, seeing none, the motion passes to table a bill to restore and repair ASUCSB online presence to the next Senate meeting. Thank you. All right, the next piece of legislation is a resolution to establish a temporary Black Empowerment Senate Committee, co-authored by Senator Butler and Siddiqui. The floor is open to provide context. on the committee?
I could start, and I'll give us a couple of moments to trickle into the document. So essentially, this is a standing committee, a temporary standing committee that was established last year by our president, Broadway. And this year, I'm just bringing it back to the floor. There's not a lot of changes I made when imagining this year's Black Empowerment Task Force. But I had a meeting with our president a few weeks ago, and just so like I could start understanding this space, and I do want to open up the conversation because there was a portion that I took out and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. But yes, there are Black spaces at UCSB. There's Black BCUs and Black clubs and RCOs and offices. But those more are Black spaces that are community spaces that are catering for each other. The Black Empowerment Task Force essentially is a space that's going to be focusing on the betterment of the Black community. Yes, it's going to be a community for Black students to share space, to be together, to be safe, but our sole purpose, our morals, are towards affecting and making like systemic change, not only for this year, but the following years at UCSB. And the part, maybe after Senator Siddiqui talks, or maybe any of the co-sponsors, if they're here, but the portion that I had taken out that I would like my senators' opinion on it, if they're for it or against this portion that I took out. But originally there was, yes, the senators are the chair and vice chair, so automatically 2 senators in the standing committee, but there was an additional 3 senators in the standing committee as well, and I took that out. So the only senators that are involved in the space are the chair and the vice chair. And I did this one because I am the only Black senator and I want it to be a majority Black space. And automatically the vice chair is not going to be Black. But then also I didn't know which senators were really going to be passionate about this and wanted to be a part of this. So if any senators, more than one who's going to be the vice chair, is really passionate about this seat and being a part of initiatives to improve, the betterment of Black students, let me know and I can totally make that amendment. But I just wanted to, let you all know about the change I made.
All right, thank you, Senator Butler. The floor is open for any questions or amendments or motions. Yes, Senator Brenderson.
I saw that this is pretty kind of dry question. You have an honorary of $1,200 with 4 people accepting it. I'm assuming you're just going to split it between you 4, 300 each, yeah?
Yeah, great question. So the reason I have $1,200 for the honoraria, yeah, it would be 300 each between the 2 members at large and the 2 BSU positions. All of the other seats get honoraria already, so these are the only 2 seats that don't get honoraria already, so that's why I had that much allocated for their honoraria. But this is just for fall, so I will have to come back and make some adjustments so they can get paid throughout the year, but this is a good start.
So this fiscal impact is quarterly?
As of right now, yes.
All right. So maybe we need to make that amendment to the resolution. Would someone like to motion to make that amendment?
I could try to do that quick math, but it might take me a second.
All right.
Can I motion to approve that amendment?
So legally, because this does have a fiscal impact of more than $3,000 a year, we are going to have to table this for the F&B committee for recommendation, which legally means we cannot pass this resolution as of right now. Yes, Parliamentarian Shaw.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. So I have just been texted about a section of the legal code which I'll send to the Zoom chat. But basically, it's on the page 138 of the legal code. And it basically says everything that's related to procurement has to be, that's above $3,000 has to be tabled to F&B for their recommendation. I apologize for the confusion, but that's not related to that, to the resolution about Black Empowerment Committee. That's fine because it's not a procurement decision. But when we come back to the discussion of the MIP system, that will be a legal limitation on the authority of the Senate. So we can pass the Black Empowerment Committee resolution, but that's fine because it's not procurement. But when we come back to MIP, then it will become a problem. I yield. Yes, so procurement just means anything related to purchasing things. For instance, purchase a new system of financial management. I do understand this is not the right moment to discuss the MIP legislation, and I do apologize for it. And sorry for the confusion. I yield.
Thank you. Since we have our F&B chair here, Senator Singh, if you would like to speak on this a bit, or if you have any recommendations for next steps that we can take with this resolution to make sure that it does pass as this committee does get established. Yes, Parliamentarian Shaw?
I'm really sorry for the confusion. It's extremely confusing. But so the Black Empowerment Committee we can just pass it. There's no problem on that. But when we come back to the MIP system, then it will become a problem. But for the Black Empowerment Committee, we can just pass it. Sorry for the confusion.
All right, thank you. Senator Singh?
Yeah, no, that was it. This is not a procurement, so we don't have to table it to the finance committee. But the MIP system does, and the finance committee doesn't meet until school starts. So that's going to be kind of weird to figure out too.
All right, thank you. Senator Siddiqui?
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to provide like a greater definition of procurement and see if parliamentarians you would agree with my assessment, just because it is an important word to know and it definitely will come up in future. It's important to remember that procurement isn't the same as just having a financial impact. Like if we write a bill, for example, like I was talking to Senator Horsandi about earlier, like, you know, creating a new position or adding honoraria or moving money around, that's not procurement. Procurement specifically pertains to the ability of someone to make their own independent purchases. For example, if we were to look at the example of a campus department, you know, there are certain regulations around their complete independence and authority to purchase items because they are under the jurisdiction of the administration. So procurement mainly just pertains to that, the ability to purchase something.
All right, thank you for the questions and discussion, everyone. Are there any further questions? If not, I think we can move to a motion if someone would like to go ahead with that. Senator Amin?
Motion to pass a resolution to establish temporary committee called the Black Empowerment Task Force.
All right, there has been a motion to pass a resolution to establish a temporary Black Empowerment Senate Committee. Is there a second?
Second, Senator Lincoln.
Seconded by Senator Lankarani. We are in discussion.
Call to question?
Call to question has been made. Are there any objections? Seeing none, motion passes. All right. I just want to make everyone aware that in 30 minutes, we will be going into a recess, but also our minute takers will only be here until 9:30. So that is just something to consider. So for time's sake, keep everything to what is necessary to be talked about and discussed. Utilize the chat to provide small bits of information, but obviously if it's like a piece of discussion that needs to be talked about, please raise your hand and I'll address you and we'll talk about that. All right, so next is a bill to amend the GPA requirement for receiving honoraria. Senator Butler and Siddiqui, you have the floor.
All right, cool. Gonna try to keep this one short, so we can get some recess and our note takers can go home early. I'll let everyone trickle in again. So this one, I was really happy to author this. Someone came to me, but this was an issue that multiple people came to me and addressed, but I'm happy because I've also been affected by this. First, I think that people have different ideas of honoraria, what it is. I think honoraria is very important and it affects a lot of people's lives. And a lot of people rely on honoraria. Last year, honoraria, which was money that I relied on a lot, it was the most tumultuous process. It took very long. It took a lot of barriers, a lot of people I had to talk to just by picking up a check. And I think taking out the GPA requirement is a step in the right direction to improving our honoraria process. I know it goes through the office of the registrar, and it's just one of the reasons why it's so tedious to taking time to look at every single person's GPA. And then lastly, I do consider, yes, being a Senate and being an Associated Students is a service position that we chose to be in. But I'm working here and I consider this a position, a job. And I just don't think our disbursement and our process of doing our due diligence to get the students the money they deserve is where it needs to be. And I think that taking out the GPA requirement is a step in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Butler. Senator Siddiqui, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't have anything to add, just kind of going off what Senator Butler said. This legislation would vastly improve the speed to which the association is able to distribute honoraria. Also, sorry for the constant notifications in the background. But this has been a huge issue ever since I've been a freshman in AS in terms of the timing of honoraria payments. Last year, it was especially bad. So anything we can do to make sure people are paid for the hard labor they put into the association is a worthy effort, in my opinion. So more than delighted to second this legislation.
Thank you. Senator Lala? Senator Lala, you have your hand up? All right, I'm gonna assume that's a mistake. But yeah, the floor is open.
I had a quick question, Chair.
Oh, yes, Senator Lala.
Yeah, I actually really appreciate this effort from both senators to make the process more efficient. We all know what a struggle it is. I was thinking, and I briefly spoke to the AG about this. Have you guys checked whether there's anything in university policy that might make this difficult or even render it impossible? Is there something that says that if you're is the 2.0 GPA requirement a requirement at the university level that we cannot surpass by just legislation from the association? Or is this something that we can simply decide here?
All right, thank you for the question, Senator Lala. If Holly would like to go ahead and answer the question.
Yeah, no, the only potential conflict that I see that I think that it may be important to consult the Attorney General on, maybe you all as the Senate could discuss, is that there's a bit of a conflict that could potentially happen between this bylaw change and the oh, hi Eric, nice to see you, to the Constitution. So the Constitution does require the current registered undergraduate status, a 2.0 GPA, and a minimum of 6 units. Now again, I have no vested stake in the honorary process, and I certainly am very interested in seeing you all have an improved process and having access to the funds that you've earned in an easy, seamless way. So I'm totally in support of that, but it may be a potential legal conflict. There could be a challenge to it that you may want to consider evaluating. That really, the idea is that honoraria is earned by members, and so there could potentially be a conflict between meeting the membership of the association requirements if students that are earning honoraria are paying those fees. But again, it's pretty nuanced, but I just wanted to identify that as a potential area for discussion. But in terms of university policy or like system-wide policy, I'm not aware of any potential conflicts that would happen above that level. It just may be localized to your constitution, but that's an excellent question. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Senator Corsandi?
I just had an idea to work around this. If the problem with the GPA requirement, or like one of the main problems, is the efficiency behind it that needs to like be checked. I mean, this would be my first time doing honoraria, so I'm not too sure on the process. But would a workaround be to, instead of saying maintain at least a 2.0 GPA, could you just say like ensure that the person receiving honoraria fits the requirements for being a member, so that it's not like that specific? I don't know if this makes sense, but if it's not that specific, so that it needs to be like checked to make sure that the GPA fits the requirement, when it's just like kind of like, oh yeah, we already like assume that it's, since if they're receiving honoraria, that they meet the minimum requirements to be like a member or whatever.
Thank you, Senator Corsandi. Holly?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add, Senator Corsandi, if the bylaws state that the eligibility for receiving honoraria is in alignment with the requirements for membership, that would actually mean that we would continue to check GPA. And it's not that it couldn't be changed, of course, it's just a constitutional amendment does require a vote of the student body in addition to either a petition from the student body at large or a constitutional like bill essentially. So I would say if your intention is to remove the GPA requirement, I don't know that referring back to the membership requirements would necessarily meet that goal because those requirements are listed in the membership requirements of the institution.
All right, thank you. Vincent?
I'm actually going to defer to Marissa just because everything that Holly said, and I'm sure whatever Marissa's going to say will point on, you know, Senator Kersandi. That was a great kind of connection to the eligibility point and how that relates to what and any checks that would happen related to honoraria eligibility. But I just want to applaud both Holly and Marissa for their continued work on this. And the association has the financial operations team's commitment that we're going to work our hardest to expedite honoraria as best we can, as we have in the past. So I'm going to pass it off to Marissa.
All right, thank you. Marissa?
I just want to share with all of you, and I've sent this to some of the leadership of AS, but I took some of the advisors through a process to come up with a more improved process for honoraria. And I've asked them to share that out with all of you so that you can see that process. The main concern we had was when we do eligibility and making sure we have a robust database of everybody who is involved in the association. So we proposed different ways to address that. One of which would be to check eligibility at the beginning of each quarter to check that folks are eligible for their position, not necessarily for honoraria. And so that we would have the ability as staff to offer academic support and resources to students so that they could focus on their academic career. Should you keep the GPA requirement, but the suggestion that we are proposing would be to move the eligibility check at the beginning of the school year or beginning of the quarters, as opposed to after honoraria is requested. So I encourage you all to take a look at that as you contemplate the conversation around, does this require a constitutional amendment or not?
Yes, Vincent?
From our perspective, we also would like the senators to consider connecting the honoraria question to the digitization of the financial systems conversation that you all will take, right? Honoraria checks in the past have been, I think, from the staff front, you know, we've processed through them. It is a tedious process. I think you all would benefit from a system that would allow the checks to be directly deposited into your accounts, which to my understanding is a possibility with the new systems that we're proposing.
All right, thank you. For some advisement, I don't think that passing this would affect any of our constitution. All right, but like simply looking at our legal code, it seems like this is more so just a bylaw that would be changed. But the floor is, yes, Senator Siddiqui?
Yeah, because this is a bylaws change, I recognize that there are some concerns that it may violate the Constitution or some other university requirements. It has to be tabled anyway, and we will likely, I don't know what your plan is, Sue, but I don't know if we'll be able to have another Zoom meeting before fall starts, but we will definitely, I think we should have at least an email vote, because there are a lot of bills on the agenda today that need to be tabled. So I just wanted to remind everyone of that. Like, we already have to automatically table this bill, so any issues in terms of legality and adherence with our other bylaws and regulations can be worked out in the interim period before we actually go to pass this.
All right, thank you. Okay, would anyone like to motion to table this until the next Senate meeting? Yes, Senator Amin?
Sorry, I had a quick question if we have time for that. If not, then I'll just motion.
Go ahead, if it's a quick question.
Okay, this is more directed towards Holly, if she's still here, or anyone who knows the answer. But is there not a GPA requirement to run for Senate? And is that not is that same GPA requirement not the same thing that's on the bill?
This bill is specifically targeting honoraria, so this would go for our Senate as well as BCUs. So this would impact kind of like every student that engages with the association that receives honoraria. Does that answer your question?
No, I got that, but I meant like for senators. Oh, I guess actually that does answer my question. But
Yeah, so in order to be in any of the BCUs or run for Senate in the first place, there are those checks and balances. I think this bill is specifically targeting the arbitrary nature of that GPA requirement for receiving honoraria specifically.
okay.
Okay. So this bill will be tabled for another until our next meeting. So we are now moving into a bill to amend grant disbursement policies, written by Senator Singh and Siddiqui. If any of you would like to speak on this bill, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This bill was written after communication from the director of the Educational Opportunity Program, who said that let me put it up. That an option for grant disbursements is no longer available, and the reason for that was issuing grants based on estimates. By removing the option to issue grants based on estimates, the system ensures that funds are only disbursed for actual verified expenses, and it minimizes the risk of misuse or fraudulent claims, as every grant must be backed by original and itemized receipts. It also requires proof of payment before disbursing funds that helps maintain the integrity of the association. And this bill basically removes that option of getting funds just through estimates. And it also adds the EOP to the financial policies of the association.
All right, thank you. Senator Siddiqui, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, not much to add. This is a simple bylaws change, just reflecting news that we heard from administration. In addition to the bylaws change, there was also a change made to our financial policies and procedures, just kind of reiterating the bylaw changes that were made. And the overall purpose of this legislation is to just create more financial transparency and establish within legal code stricter requirements for documentation of, random loans that are just given out to students. As an association, as a Senate, we should be aware of how all of our $18 million of student fees are being spent. And so this legislation just makes sure that there's added requirements to actually document the expenditures of these loans being given out.
All right, thank you. And since it's a bill, we will be automatically tabling it to a vote for our next Senate meeting. Moving into a bill to improve the Outreach Senate Committee, written by Senator Siddiqui, Senator Martinez, and Senator Lala. The floor is yours to shed light a little bit on what the bill entails.
Yeah, so essentially, and I will also say I've been in contact with the lobby corps chairs as well as the legislative director in the EVPSA office, my former office, on this, because they had a lot of suggestions in terms of how they think, for context, by the way, the outreach committee used to be called the External Affairs Committee, or EAC for short. They had a lot of suggestions on how they thought EAC could be more effective and also have a better working relationship with Senate. Also just one quick comment. I see 9 viewers on this document. There is about 19 of us here. I know it's late, but it would really mean a lot to, I know, all the other senators as well who introduced legislation. If you guys could just follow along with what we're saying. It's a simple sign of respect that you're acknowledging other people's work, and I would like that to be reflected while we're here. So thank you. I see more people joining now. But essentially the main objective of this legislation is there's typically in EAC, this is how it worked too. There was just 4 policy analysts, and it was kind of up to the chair and the vice chair to determine, okay, which areas do we want you to write policy briefs on or do research on? And there's so many different levels of government that affect the quality of life for UCSB students. Whether it's federal policies being issued by the Department of Education, or legislation that's being passed through the California State Assembly, or UCOP rulings, or even local things that the Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors are doing. And so I think it's important to actually make these policy analyst positions more specific and targeted in the levels of government they are analyzing and research and writing policy briefs on. So that's the main point of this legislation. Obviously, enabled communication, as I mentioned, with the lobby corps chairs and the legislative director for the EVPSA. And I think there will be further amendments made that they suggested to me. One of them was doing something similar to what me and Senator Singh did. So as you all remember, there was a bunch of resolutions that were co-authored by us that were essentially just reiterating the stance that lobby corps has already taken against certain pieces of legislation that were set to be voted on in the California State Legislature. And so another amendment they were kind of suggesting is, making the policy analysts more focus on writing these things called letters of intent, essentially just emailing the actual legislators and letting them know hey, the UCSB Student Senate said, they are in support, the UCSB student body is in support of this bill, or they're not in support of this bill for X or Y reason. I think it would just expand, the usefulness and the purpose of the committee. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this legislation. I think it needs more amendments, obviously, and more input from external stakeholders, but I think it's at a good starting point right now.
All right, thank you. Senator Martinez or Lala, do you have anything to add?
Just for the sake of time, I think that Dan hit all of the points on the dot, or whatever that saying. So if you want to read up more on the changes of the policy analysis and exactly what their positions are going to do or anything, it's going to be in our in the bill. We know it's going to be tabled, so it's okay if et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, he hit everything on the dot, and you can read up more on it. And et cetera. Sorry, thank you.
Very, very quickly, I just want to say that I think it's a really common sense and rather small change, and I would encourage that all the other committees might want to look into something like this. Obviously, outreach has the specific aspect of reaching out to multiple external stakeholders, but I think there might be equivalents in other committees, and you might want to see how you can make positions more specific and how we can make the best out of the committee rework act that was passed last year. So yeah, I think this is a really positive change.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you all for proposing this. If there are no further questions, are there any further questions? No. All right. Let's revisit the resolution to adopt the MIP Cloud Financial System software. Yes, Parliamentarian Jha.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. I'll share my screen so we can all have a clear look of what we are talking about. So on page 138 of the legal code, it says we're discussing the implementation, blah, 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 blah. So at there, it basically says the authority of the decision-making for new procurement procedures falls under the FNB. And we might be able to circumvent that by calling a special meeting. But I just realized we don't have enough quorum for a special meeting of FNB since we appointed all of the financial officers in the last meeting. So the only way the Senate may pass this resolution is by a majority vote to interpret this clause as not including the new procurement system, which means it's very complicated, but in short, the Senate is responsible for the interpretation of the legal code, unless challenged in the Judicial Council. So if the Senate wants to interpret this clause in a way that don't interfere with the passing of the new procurement system resolution, the Senate may. Or alternatively, the Senate could also table it for the moment, have the FNB do an email vote, the Senate do an email vote, and adopt the resolution. It's your choice. I yield.
Just for clarification purposes, Parliamentarian Jha, you are referring to the resolution to establish a temporary Black Empowerment Senate Committee, correct?
No, I'm sorry for the confusion. There is no problem in passing the Black Empowerment Committee, but what I'm talking about the MSI procurement system resolution.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Senator Siddiqui?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question, and this can be directed to both Parliamentarian Jha or Senator Singh, but I was confused as to why you said the Finance Committee couldn't meet quorum, since to my understanding, they appointed all of their financial officers, they have 2 chairs, they have a bunch of other positions filled, definitely more than 2/3, so why would they not be able to call a quorum to hold a special meeting?
Yes, so what I mean by special meeting is, let's say if the FNB committee only had senators at the moment, we can call an FNB meeting within this Senate meeting. But since there are, I believe, 11 or 13 people on the FNB, so we cannot call special meeting of FNB within the Senate meeting. So they can meet outside, but we can now call special meeting within the Senate meeting.
Okay, so just quick follow-up in that case. So the Finance Committee chair could just hold an email vote for this, and they propose amendments, and then it comes out of committee, and then it would have to come back to the Senate for us to pass with amendments or not pass, correct?
To me, the way this bylaw is written, FNB has exclusive jurisdiction on the decision-making of new procurement procedures. So FNB alone is entitled to make that decision without any input from the Senate. It's just how the legal code is written.
Okay, so they could pass it right out of committee?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, seeing as we have this bylaw, kind of change our perspective on how to go about the bill within Senate, I suggest that someone parliamentarian Jaw, just to clarify, would someone motion for this resolution to be sent into FNB? Would we need to motion that, or would it be automatic?
Yeah, it will be better if we motion to refer this resolution to FNB.
All right. Senator Siddiqui?
I motion to refer a resolution to adopt the MIP Cloud Financial System software to the Finance Committee.
Second.
All right, there has been a motion to refer a resolution to adopt the MIP Cloud Financial System software to the Financial Committee by Senator Siddiqui, and that has been seconded by Senator Singh. We are now in discussion.
Call to question.
Call to question has been made by
Senator Lankarani.
Senator Lankarani, thank you. By Senator Lankarani. Are there any objections to the call to question?
Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? All right, seeing none, motion passes to refer a resolution to adopt the MIP Cloud Financial System software to the Finance Committee. Thank you, everyone. We are now moving out of new business and going into action items. Are there any action items that anyone would like to motion onto the agenda? No. All right, moving into old business. First on old business is a bill to push back budget hearings. And that is co-authored by Senator Singh and Senator Siddiqui. Yes, Senator Amin?
Sorry, just to move back into action items, is this where we would do the reimbursement for Erik Carlson?
Technically, yes. I viewed the requisition, everything seems in order. I can also.
Okay, so motion to grant Erik Carlson requisition.
All right. If you could stay out the full thing, so that is right under his public forum comment, if you'd like to.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Right under his public forum. Okay, motion to grant Erik Carlson requisition reimbursement of, I'm gonna let you finish typing. Of the 4th Strong Memorial Project for the memorial.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just gonna let you finish typing and I'll talk when you're done.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm just reading off the requisition right now. It seems like the amount is exactly what it says it is, so. Senator Amin, would you like to finish your motion?
Yes. So with a motion, not just be motion to approve requisitions for retroactive requisition, sorry. With a motion, not just be motion to approve requests for retroactive requisitions for the 4th Strong Memorial event? Or do I need to? Nope, okay.
Oh, no, like either language is fine.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
Motion to grant Erik Carlson requisition for reimbursement of the 4th Strong Amendment Memorial Project in the amount of $4,287.50 4-7.
All right, a motion has been made to approve Eric Carlson with the requisition and reimbursement of the Ivy Strong Memorial Project for the amount of $4,287.47. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Siddiqui. We are now in discussion.
Call to question?
Call to question has been made by Senator Lankarani. Are there any objections? Seeing none, motion passes.
Chair, if you don't mind, I wanted to make 2 more motions under action items. Would that be okay?
Go ahead.
I motion to direct the Executive Director, Maricela Marquez, to post the job description for the Human Resources and Payroll Analyst.
All right. Motion to, can you write that out to me, please?
Yeah, I can write it on the agenda right now. I would
All
also
right,
need
thank you.
or my motion dies, FYI for the Senate.
All right, a motion has been made to direct the executive director to post the job description of for the human resources and payroll analyst position. That has been made by. Just for clarification, Senator Siddiqui, where would this be posted?
This would be under action items.
No. Where would the executive director be posting this job description?
Oh, yeah. So typically, and maybe Marissa or Holly could add any more input or insight they have on the hiring process of pro staff. But my understanding, based on looking at the staff org chart, is that these positions are posted to a university website. I think it's jobs.ucsb.edu. I could be getting the URL wrong, but I believe there is a link to where new jobs are posted when you access the new staff org chart that was created. And I can also put the link to the new staff org chart in the chat for everyone's reference if that would be helpful.
Another way to say that would be to convene the search committee to fill the vacant position.
Would you like to amend your motion, Senator Siddiqui?
Yes, I would. Thank you so much, Marissa. So I would like to amend my motion to state motion to direct the executive director to convene the search committee to fill the human resources and payroll analyst position.
Convene the search committee to fill the vacant position.
Convene the search committee to fill the vacant position. Thank you, Marissa.
Sure.
Second.
All right. Motion has been made to direct the executive director to convene the search committee to fill the vacant position of the payroll analyst and human resources positions. Is there a second?
Second, Senator Lankarani.
Seconded by Senator Lankarani. We are now in discussion.
Call to question.
Call to question has been made. Are there any objections to the call to question?
Consent.
Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had another motion I wanted to make, but I see that
Senator Siddiqui?
Sorry, I was just gonna say I did have another motion to make under action items, but I see that Senator Lankarani has their hand up, so I wanted to yield my time to them.
Yes, Senator Lankarani?
Thank you, IVP Pinto, thank you, Senator Siddiqui. Real quick, can we motion to excuse Senator Medeiros for the remainder of the session? I think he has to go.
All right, a motion has been made to excuse Senator Medeiros for the rest of the meeting. Is there a second?
Second, Senator Butler.
Call to question.
I'm one person, y'all. Can my pro temps please get on the document and take notes?
Sorry, I'm adding stuff now.
So that was initially called by Senator Lankarani and seconded by Senator Butler. Are there any objections? Or technically we're in discussion.
Call to question.
Call to question has been made by Senator Amin. Are there any objections to the call to question?
Consent.
Seeing none. Oh, are there any objections to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes to excuse Senator Medeiros for the remainder of the meeting.
Thank you. And can I also motion to excuse Senator Brenderson, seeing that he also has to go? Free my boy. He's sleepy.
I'm dead. Motion has been made to excuse Senator Brenderson for the remainder of the meeting by Senator Lankarani. Is there a second?
I second.
Second.
Seconded by Senator. Wait. Seconded by.
Senator Butler.
Okay, thank you. We're now in discussion.
Call to question?
Call to question has been made. Are there any objections to the call to question?
Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Good night, Paulo.
night. All right, seeing as it's 9 p.m. and our minute takers are leaving at 9:30, I would like to ask them, would y'all like to stay until 9:30? Or should we take the break? Because that is completely up to you.
We can stay till 9:30.
Okay, nice. All right. Moving back into action items.
Yeah, I'll make this super quick since the minute takers have to leave early. But I'd like to make a motion to direct the executive director to provide a written explanation to the first Senate President pro tempore, second Senate President pro tempore, and internal vice president on the reasoning behind the removal of the legislative liaison position from the new staff organizational chart in a bona fide manner, as well as the removal of any other position from the 2023 staff organizational chart.
Thank you. That's an excellent question. So a motion has been made to direct the executive director to provide a written or conversational. Wait, did you just say written?
I said written or oral.
Oh, written or oral explanation to explaining the removal of remaining positions from the staff organizational chart for the year of 2023 going into 2023-2024 academic year going into 2024-2025. As well as the removal of people in the position, or is it just like the positions within the organizational chart?
So the motion I made was explain the removal of specifically the legislative liaison position, as well as any other position that was removed from the previous staff org chart.
All right. All right, thank you. So there's been a motion to direct the executive director to provide a written or oral explanation of the removal of the legislative liaison position from the staff organizational chart, as well as any other position that was removed from the 2023 staff organizational chart. Is there a second?
Second by Senator Butler.
Seconded by Senator Butler. We are now in discussion. Holly?
Yeah, so I can add some context specifically about the legislative liaison position. So I am the supervisor of that position, and I actually formerly held it, so I'm familiar with the work. When I joined AS in 2018, that was the position that I held. So just so you understand kind of the organizational structure, I supervise that position, Marissa supervises me. And so one of our projects this summer has been to review the job descriptions that are within my area of supervision, and she has done so as well for hers. So at least for that position, the intention is for that position to be next up for recruitment. And Marissa and I are currently in progress in evaluating that position. Part of the reason for that is because I've been covering that area of vacancy for a little while. And so the needs of the position in the area have kind of just adjusted and changed. So that's going to be the reason for the amendment. And then just the student services that we have been responsive to, I guess is the best way to put that, have also adjusted. You know, the work of supporting travel and some other work around the honoraria process. Our new document management system has been expanded, and so those kind of roles and responsibilities and functions are going to be incorporated into that job description. Granted, I don't have all the answers. I'm just one player in the puzzle that is recruitment and hiring and all that. But I just want to share for at least that position explicitly. It's currently under review by Marissa and I, and it will be next up for recruitment. Dan, I see your hand. I don't know if you have a question for me, but I can
Yeah, no,
try to
I
answer
just
any questions.
sorry to cut you off. I just had a quick question. Also, thank you for providing that context. So you said that you and Marissa were reviewing the responsibilities of the position to determine how to reallocate it. I am familiar with the executive director's preference on focusing on functional areas when creating new staff organizational charts. That being said, all of us, myself included, are very grateful for your work and all that you do, Holly. But you do a lot in terms of managing travel for all the offices. I know that arranging travel specifically with Lobby Corps and EVPSA has been challenging in the past, as well as all you do for us as senators, maintaining the bill book and keeping track of all the things that we do. So, in my opinion, I think, it would be better if we had more staff under your department to better support you. But obviously, that's just my opinion. It's up to the two of you at the end of the day. But I guess the question I had was that my understanding was that when creating new staff organizational charts, the only person who's involved in, I guess, reevaluating positions and positional descriptions was the executive director. So if you had more context on this, could you talk a little bit more about who was involved in the creation of this new staff organizational chart?
Yeah, so I will ask Marcella to confirm all of the people that participated in this, because I believe that I have a good understanding of it, but I don't want to misrepresent anything, of course. But Sean, of course, participated in the tech side of things. I know that he had some support from Anthony prior to his departure, partly because the updated staff org chart now includes excerpts from folks' job descriptions, and so he helped provide that to Sean. But I believe the vision of kind of the function and look of it was Maricela, I believe. really kind of as the department head, she really has the vision and the responsibility for kind of what, like you were saying earlier, the staff functions, and really helps kind of guide what that looks like. But we're a pretty collaborative team of staff, and so I think if there is some feedback specifically about the website, I would certainly welcome it. I'm sure that Sean and Maricela would as well. But yeah, that's my understanding, is they collaborated on kind of what the look and the function and what information would be included. It's my understanding that there are some positions that are not listed because of that function area assessment. We are adding 2 new special program advisors to our unit, which is, for anybody that's familiar, our staff is divided up into 3 different units. The one that Marissa is the director over is over community affairs, student development, and leadership. So that is my team, which is governmental affairs, and then the other portion of our unit is community affairs. And so our unit will be welcoming 2 special program advisors, hopefully before the beginning of fall. And so the staff org chart will be reflected to include those different areas of responsibility. But part of what the work that Marissa and I are doing and evaluating the functions and the responsibilities that are within our unit is really figuring out where we can kind of plug those special program advisors in, like what projects could use additional support, what groups need additional support and advising, what internal processes could be process mapped and evaluated, and that kind of thing. So I know that once those folks are on the team and we have kind of assigned them areas of work, that at least that portion of the org chart will be updated to reflect that. And I don't know actually yet that Vincent and Annalise have been added to the new org chart. So whatever their areas of responsibility will also be added as well to that. But at least for our area, that is currently what is happening, is that kind of assessment. And then 2, just because things really have changed in terms of group activities, staffing availability. We're kind of also in process of just assessing, are things working? Is, the workload assigned appropriately? Is this actually meeting the needs of the students that we are advising and supporting? And so, like I said, of course, I'm just one portion of that in the larger, staff organization, so to speak. But at least for our team, that's kind of the focus that we're having, is kind of what really are the needs. Like you said, travel has been really expanded a lot over the last few years, mostly due to accessibility of more funds. And so that's something that we're evaluating. It's something that I love doing, so don't get me wrong, I am not complaining at all. I love what I do. Travel being a part of that, but yeah, that we're, I guess, to answer short, we're evaluating kind of what the needs are in terms of committees, BCUs, different kind of projects and internal processes, and kind of figuring out where those will fit into different positions, whether that is with the legislative liaison or with special program advisors, or if there's a new need entirely for a new position, which is a little bit of a different process because that, involves campus HR, and also the positions are, I believe, approved by the Office of the President. So we kind of have to go through a little bit more bureaucracy, so to speak, and creating new positions and getting those job descriptions approved and all that. But if that's something that we need, that'll be a process that we engage in. And Vincent said his position is now on the staff org chart. That's awesome. Thanks for adding that, Vincent, or adding that update rather. But anyway, I feel like I shared a lot of words. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any other questions, I can continue to chat about it. But I don't want to take up too much more of our limited time, but hopefully that helps. And of course, you all know where to find me if we want to brainstorm further, ask any more questions, but I hope that kind of helps add some context. But again, like I said, that I am one piece of the whole team organization.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that insight, Holly. Senator Siddiqui.
Yeah, I do have additional questions, but I think it would be better if the executive director were to answer them. So I'll just wait until I have a dialogue with them or until they come and give a report at the next Senate meeting. But again, Holly, thank you so much for context you provided, and thank you and the rest of the staff so much for your countless and tireless efforts towards supporting us as students and keeping this association going.
All right. That being said, we're still in discussion for the motion. Senator Siddiqui, would you like to proceed with your motion?
I would.
All right. So we're in discussion.
Call the question.
Call to question has been made. Are there any objections to the call to question?
Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you. All right. Since we have nothing in old business, because what was in old business was technically passed via email vote. So that's great. We will be moving into acceptance of the agenda.
Motion to accept the agenda.
Motion to accept the agenda has been made by Senator Siddiqui and seconded by
Senator El-Khatib.
Senator El-Khatib. We are now in discussion.
Call to question.
Call to question has been made by
Senator Linkarani.
Senator Linkarani. Are there any objections to the call to question?
Consent. Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. All right, we will now be moving into appointments. We have a lot of appointments being made today. I suggest you review them if you haven't already. And I'm gonna give everyone, yes, Senator Butler.
We're now in minutes, correct? I mean, sorry, appointments. My apologies.
Yeah, we're now in appointments.
Can I make a motion?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to paste this right off of the bat. But motion to add the following appointments / resignations to the agenda under L appointments. Office of the President. Resignations: Gabrielle Salazar, Special Assistant; Mia Paul, Coordinator of Artistic and Cultural Affairs. Appointments: I'm going to butcher that name. Osmathus Lynch, Commissioner of Environmental Sustainability. Ella Sadok, Director of Alumni Affairs. Mia Paul, Executive Director. Megan Lee, Senior Advisor. Jonathan Sue, Coordinator of Artistic and Cultural Affairs. Raya Cassell, Transfer Student Coordinator. Eva Markovich, Special Assistant. Partle Center Governance Board. Samira Casillas. Vice Chair, Hannah Adam Claros, Chair. UVIC, Samira Casillas, Chair. Caleb Valdez, Vice Chair. Sorry, that was very long.
All right, a motion to add the following appointments / resignations to the agenda has been made. Is there a second? Senator Siddiqui?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Siddiqui. We're now in discussion.
Call question.
Call to question has been made by Senator Lala. Are there any objections to the call Are there any objections to the call to question?
Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. All right, thank you, y'all. That was a long one. So now with all those appointments added, I ask everyone to review them. I'm gonna give y'all around a minute. Yes, Senator Siddiqui?
Yeah, sorry. The reason I had my hand up is because I had a private message with Eric earlier. And he informed me that he's not sure if he's going to be able to take on the position of chairing the Rules and Administration Committee, because of his course load, as well as the research he's doing, and he's also serving as Attorney General. In my communication with him, he just said he was unsure, and I told him if he thinks he can't take on the workload, then obviously no pressure. We're never going to force someone into doing something they don't want to do. But he never gave me a definitive answer on whether he wants to do it or not. So I don't know if Parliamentarian Za or someone who has his personal phone number, would you mind just calling him real quick and asking him what his decision is? Because I don't want to appoint him to be chair if he feels like he can't take on the workload.
Yeah, of course. Give me a moment.
All right. So I think we should go office by office, approving appointments until we get to that one, just because we have a lot to get through. So first being the Office of the President resignations. I suggest someone make a motion that we bundle and approve the Office of the President resignations.
A motion to bundle and approve all resignations of the Office of the President.
Okay, Senator Lankarani has made a motion to bundle and approve.
Seconded by
all.
Senator Al-Khatib.
So you said to bundle and approve all appointments and resignations?
Just the
under the Office of the
resignations.
President? Okay, all right, thank you. So a motion to approve all resignations under the Office of the President has been made. There's been a second by Senator Al-Khatib. We are now in discussion.
Call to question.
Call to question has been made by Senator Amin. Are there any objections? Seeing none, motion passes. Now moving into the appointments of the Office of the President.
Chair,
Yes, Senator Seal.
I move to bundle and approve all the appointments for the Office of the President.
A motion has been made to bundle and approve all appointments under the Office of the President by Senator Rocio. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by
Senator Lankarani.
Senator Lankarani. We are now in discussion.
Call the question.
Call to question has been made. Are there any objections?
Consent.
Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. All right, we now have clarification that Eric will in fact chair the committee. I suggest that we motion to bundle and approve all appointments.
Chair,
Yes, Senator.
it was me.
Senator Rocio?
Yes, I move to bundle and approve all appointments.
So there's been a motion by Senator Rocio to bundle and approve all appointments. Is there a second?
Second, Senator Lingaroni.
All right, we are now discussion.
Call question.
Are there any objections to the call to question? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you. All right, now moving into minutes. So under these minutes are I believe they are the minutes of the Pardall Center meetings for the UCIV and Pardall Center Governance Board appointments. The floor is open for a motion. I suggest someone motion to approve all minutes.
Motion to bundle and approve all minutes.
Thank you, Senator Siddiqui.
Second.
By
Senator Rosillo.
All right, seconded by Senator Rocio. We're now discussion.
Call to question.
Call to question has been made. Are there any objections? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Seeing as we're done with that and that. Parliamentarian job, is there anything left on the agenda that I'm not seeing?
I believe that's out. Yes, that's out.
All right. We are now moving into adjournment.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right, Senator Siddiqui has motion to adjourn the
Seconded by
meeting.
McClintock.
And
Oh,
it has
sorry,
been seconded
sorry.
by
Sorry, guys.
McClintock.
Motion, I'm amending my motion. Motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:28 p.m.
All right, the original motion has been amended, so
Seconded by
motion
McClintock.
is now motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:28 p.m. Is there a second?
Seconded by McClintock.
It has been seconded by McClintock. We're now discussion.
Call to question.
Call to question has been made. Are there any objections?
Consent.
Are there any objections to the consent? All right, seeing none, the meeting has adjourned. Thank you all for being here.
Bye, everyone. Can't wait to see you all in
Thank you.
person.
Night.
Bye.